Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio Brian Leonard, also of WagerTalk.com. We're going to take a look at NFL action. We're heading across the pond, Brian. We're going to London. Second time this year, game in London, and this one's a little early. They're going to have some tea and crumpets or whatever the hell they have over there. Detroit at Atlanta, or versus Atlanta here. Brian, don't know which way you're going on this one yet, but I got to say, we got two teams that are, as we said in another video, the trains are going different directions. So one's on the flight up, the other one's pummeling down. But I don't think the rest of the football world has caught on to the Detroit Lions yet. I think they're flying under the radar.
I think they are under the radar, and I don't know if they're on their way up because they've got a lot of injuries, so the offense has been down lately. But I definitely know the Falcons are on their way down.
Free
That's
fall.
one dirty bird right now.
it is definitely free fall. What is happening? Last year, remember, this is a team that just 2 seasons ago was one play. They were inside the 10-yard line in the NFC Championship game of converting to go to the Super Bowl, and then they had the dismal fall last year, and everybody, I know a lot of people bashed them last year early on because they bashed them the year before when they did get to the NFC Championship game and said that they were a paper champion, that, the numbers didn't support what they were doing. And then last year when they fell, everybody said, see, told you, we're only a year late, but see, we told you. Now this year, it's continued. How does this coaching staff survive after this?
Well, when you take a look at the way they play, it all boils down to the offensive line. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. They've had running backs that are good running backs, but their offensive line's been hurt. The offensive line, they can't get any continuity at all, can't protect the quarterback, can't open up holes for the running backs. That's where your trouble is with Atlanta. And defensively, as we've seen this year, they've been very weak defensively. And to be honest with you, if the offense can't stay on the field, makes your defense look worse. And we saw that last year with the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest change in the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll be talking about them in another video here. But when I look at the Detroit Lions, because Schwartz was there for so many years and they had all that offensive talent, and every year you looked at the roster, and at least for me, I said, this is a playoff caliber roster, the talent that they have, but they never lived up to it. And I think part of it was there was no discipline with Schwartz, in my opinion. We always saw the stupid penalties on the field. We saw some stupid things off the field. And, and all you got to say about Jim Schwartz is the fact that he let his team carry him off the field this year when Buffalo went into Detroit. To me, that still goes as the most embarrassing moment of the season in the NFL. Well, not with the other off the field. That's the most embarrassing on-field issue with the NFL this year. But defensively, this team is playing lights out. Only 2 teams have scored more than 17 points against the Lions. You've never said that before about the Lions. And it's not like they got a bunch of extra talent this year. This roster's been there. What has Jim Caldwell done this year that's made this Lions defense so much better?
Well, you talked about it. He's more of a disciplinarian. But to be honest with you, a lot of the best players on this Lions team are young players. I mean, right out of college, 2 or 3 years out of college, so maybe some maturity on their part. But you're right. The major problem with Detroit was inconsistency and penalties. And now that, in this game, to me, it's a strict fundamental play here. You've got the Detroit team that's terrific on the defensive line. You've got an Atlanta team who cannot protect the quarterback. And you have an Atlanta team that cannot stop the pass. They're dead last in yards per play defensively against the pass. And even though Detroit has some injuries amongst their receivers, including Calvin Johnson, they've got a talented offense, so they'll be able to move the football here. And it all boils down to the Lions here. I think the Lions are going to dominate the line. I think the number's pretty cheap here. I was expecting it to be 6.
Yeah, if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan, you've known the problems you've had over the years with the defense. But if I am an Atlanta Falcon fan, I am more concerned with the fact that in the last 2 weeks, we scored 13 points against Chicago, and we see Chicago got lit up last week, and then 7 points to Baltimore. Yes, Baltimore's playing great football right now, but you still only score 7 points. That's a bigger concern. Brian says to take Detroit, lay the points. I cannot argue with him on that one. We got to go ahead and say Detroit does get the job done. hey, invite you to head over to wagertalk.com. We like to invite new people to the site. After you make your first purchase at wagertalk.com of $12 or more, we're going to put a $50 signing bonus in your account. That's right. After your first $12 spent at WagerTalk, you're going to get an extra $50 to put in your account to spend any way you like. You could check out Brian Leonard, you could check out myself, or all of the other hot cappers at WagerTalk. All right, we're going to be right back. We got another NFL game for you. That'll be my free pick in the NFL. What's up next? WagerTalk.com.